What's up everybody? Today we're installing another boost sensor on our 6.0 Powerstroke, and here's how we're doing it. So as many of you know, we're using an Edge CTS 2 in our truck, right there. And they have a kit to add universal sensors. Now I did buy the Edge boost gauge or sensor here. I believe this is a 100 PSI sensor. Not that we're making 100 PSI of boost, but we do need it. So it comes with this kit. I will have affiliate links down in the description to these things. I do want to say this is not the only sensor that's going to be added. We're also going to probably add an exhaust back pressure sensor so we can get some really good data on how our turbo is performing and do some of the best turbo reviews on the market with completely unobstructed data. Now this will cover the 6 liter specifically, but this will work for any vehicle using the EAS. The next part you guys won't really care about how I do this, but stay tuned. I will timestamp this down below so you can get to the information you need. Here we go. I had a random piece. I don't know what project this was from, but I drilled 2 of the 3 holes out. I cut it from it was a 90 degree. So I cut it, drilled out my 2 holes. So one fits right here, and this will fit the sensor. And here's the factory map hose that we already have a T fitting in. So then we're gonna come over here. This is all 1/4 inch stuff that I'm using now. The factory one uses a slightly, I believe it's 1/4 inch inside, but the outside diameter is different. So, but this is nice and tight, this 1/4 inch stuff. You might even want to heat this up to get it on your fittings correctly. I know that's what I'm gonna do because it's only about halfway on my T fitting here. But yeah, then we're gonna run this sensor right here. This will be nice and clean. In the future, I'll probably actually drill a small part through this factory piece and just have it mounted here. But I wasn't sure if I'd have the space to do that, so I decided to use this here. We'll see what happens. I might change the way this looks in the future, I'm not sure, but for now, this will be good. You're going to wrap it, like you're gonna look at it and wrap it clockwise. You don't need a ton of it, a time or 2 is sufficient. Now for this one here, we're gonna put this through, and then for this to fit on mine correctly in the fitting I have, I needed two washers here, or some kind of spacer. So I have the piece it's mounting on, 2 washers, and then the actual fitting, and then this tightens down enough to hold that in. Not as clean as I want this to look, but it will work and it is sufficient for our needs currently. At some point we will clean this up a bit. This is just kind of like my version 1, and to give you guys some ideas on how to do this and try to make it look at least semi-clean. I could paint this black, which would be a nice touch. It would look less obvious, but for the time being we're gonna roll with this. So you might need to heat this up just as a heads up, but we're able to push this on relatively easy for our sensor. That's definitely good for this, and this piece will go on my other one. You might need to warm it up a little bit to make it a little more pliable for you, but now I will say this, I would recommend clamps around all this stuff once you have it all set. We'll just make it a little nicer. I will probably trim some pieces off, like I'll probably make this line a little shorter once I have it all figured out, if you guys can see it there. So I'll probably shorten both lines overall just a little bit to make it look a little cleaner in here, but this is just kind of my first mock-up. Like I said, we'll probably end up changing this setup a little bit, but I don't think it looks horrendous. It doesn't look great, but it should work. So now we do have to run our wire here. I think I'm just gonna kind of tuck it up with the factory wire and run it all the way across is probably gonna be the easiest, because our EAS is right here, which at some point I plan to move up here kind of out of the way. So at some point I will move this and kind of mount here. I might need to screw something in somewhere, but we're gonna get this kind of a little bit away at some point. But this is the module we're gonna tap into, which is I believe it's just the EAS starter kit with the EGT probe. And these are just supposed to daisy chain together with these clips, so I have to take this off. Here we go. There we are. All right, so these all daisy chain together. Here's just the end cap to it. And then it screws down like that. Okay, so here's the semi-finished product. So we're gonna put this in wire loom. We're gonna electrical tape this, make this look nice and kind of make it look essentially like it's part of the factory harness is the goal. This plastic piece is gonna be getting replaced because it looks terrible. They get super brittle and beat up over the years. So there's some nice metal ones we're probably gonna put in here at some point. That's on the to-do list. Stay tuned for that. But so this part is pretty much at a point where we can call this, I want to say, done here. What we did is we took the wire loom out and I tucked it behind it the whole way until the other end. You can see the yellow wire there goes under the degas bottle. They said we're gonna make this just a part of this harness in the future. We'll be able to hide some of this wire. There's plenty of extra at the moment. Like I said, we're gonna really clean this up, but for now, that's a nice start. I think it looks good. It's reading in there. We have to go program it still yet. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to set up your new gauge. Here's the actual gauge. Here's the one that's in the truck itself from factory. So, but I'm just gonna show you how I would set up if I was using the other lead, which we will eventually do. So we're gonna click to change one, and it should be all the way at the bottom here. Universal input B, so I didn't do anything to this. So we'll click that. That's gonna actually select it for us. The PID information will come, you can select your alerts, but if you go to configure, this is how you're actually gonna set it up. So you can rename the gauge, you can rename this menu, and then select gauge type is the thing. So you would pick what it is. So if it's a pressure sensor, I believe the other one's gonna be a 0 to 100 PSI sensor. The device will need to reboot, and then it'll actually save those changes. So we'll show it as it comes up. You gotta kind of go through a few things. Again, this is the CTS2. The CTS3 might be slightly different, but I imagine it's going to be very similar. It might be a faster process for you guys, though, running the CTS3. So forward. Yes, we have the truck running right now. VIN number. What's really funny is this sensor is not plugged in. I don't know why it's giving it a value, but there is no sensor plugged into this. So I guess that's just the default current from it. I don't know, but that's incorrect. I'm not making 54 PSI. A fuel pressure, at least not, I mean, I might be making 54 PSI, but I'm not currently hooked up to a sensor on that one. So anyway, that's how you do it. This 2 minutes to make it all happen. Now that we have this sensor installed, we're gonna find out how much our built 6.0 Powerstroke is boosting. We're gonna be doing that in the next upload. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.